I'm going to answer two questions in today's video. Question number one, should you use a 0 milligram nicotine vape juice to help you quit vaping? And question number two, if you smoke weed and you smoke cigarettes, or if you smoke weed and you vape, what should you quit first? Weed or nicotine, or should you try and quit them both at the same time? This channel, Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, is dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. The first reason I don't recommend using a 0 milligram nicotine vape juice is because when people are trying to quit vaping, oftentimes one of their goals is to feel healthier. And one of the issues that we see when people go down to a 0 milligram juice is they're continuing to vape. So they may continue to have breathing problems. They may continue to have fatigue. They're not really giving their body that chance to fully detox. And 2-3 weeks go by without nicotine, and the person winds up saying, well, I still feel like crap. I'm really not feeling all that much better. And then they say, what's the point in quitting? And then they just go back to using a nicotine vape. So I think going down that approach usually leads to relapse. The other problem with that approach is a lot of times people will say, well, Dr. Frank, that helps me with the hand-to-mouth habit, okay? It's a habit and I need to break the habit. And my response is usually, listen, nicotine addiction is a drug addiction. This is about a lot more than a habit. If it was truly just a habit, you could simply chew on gum, you could chew on sunflower seeds, you could suck on a toothpick while you're driving in your car. And in theory, that would cure the addiction to vaping. But the matter is much more complicated than just a simple hand-to-mouth motion. And I think by degrading it to that, just creates a greater chance of relapse, because same thing like not getting healthy after you quit, the person quits using nicotine in their vape juice, but they continue to vape and they say, well, geez, why is it that I'm still struggling so much to put the vape down? I can't see myself living my life without this crutch, without this item in my pocket, without this item in my car at all times, next to my bed at all times. And then they just wind up going back to using nicotine vapes. With that being said, I am in by no means saying like this is a horrible idea, don't try it at all. Try whatever works for you. Here at our offices, we teach people how to quit cold turkey, because quitting nicotine is honestly 99, if not arguably 100% mindset. And having that vape, in my opinion, doesn't really do much for a 0 milligram nicotine vape, doesn't really do much for mindset. I think if that was more effective, or if that actually worked, you would see a lot less people vaping, because a lot of people who vape really want to quit. So if it was as simple as just going down to a 0 milligram nicotine, I think we'd actually have a lot less people vaping. Of course, this approach does work for some people. And by all means, if you haven't tried it and you want to try it, do that, because who knows, it might work for you. And if it does, that's awesome. Good for you, but you don't need it. One of the last reasons why I don't recommend using the 0 milligram nicotine vape is for financial reasons. One of the beautiful things about quitting vaping is watching your bank account grow, watching your finances look better. And in this case, you're still spending money on a vape, you're still spending money on the juice, and you're just not reaping the full benefits from a health standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a mindset standpoint that you can reap by quitting cold turkey, which I think by quitting cold turkey too definitely strengthens a person's mindset, not only in this aspect of their life, but perhaps in many aspects of their life. Now, if you're addicted to weed and nicotine and you're trying to figure out which one to quit first, I would recommend quitting weed first. And yes, arguably cigarettes are significantly more dangerous than smoking weed. But when we're talking about addiction and trying to help people quit things, I see people have a lot more success when they put down weed or alcohol prior to putting down nicotine, or they quit both at once. I've also seen that be a very successful approach. And that was kind of the approach that I took. I quit them within about a week to 2 weeks of one another. Now, I don't recommend quitting nicotine first, because the reality is, for a lot of people who are trying to quit weed, I think you know what that like brain fog is, and that weed fog that occurs in someone who's smoking a lot. And what would I say about this? I think when you're able to think clearly, when you snap out of that fog, it becomes much easier to then put down nicotine. And a lot of people that we work with, they'll tell us, they'll say, since I stopped smoking weed, I've lost my desire to watch porn. I've lost my desire to continue using nicotine. It just seems much easier for them to take on and pursue something and see it through, like quitting smoking cigarettes or quitting vaping, when weed is no longer a part of their life. Now, of course, if you smoke weed mixed with nicotine, then you got to quit them both at once if your goal is to quit. And yes, you're going to go through nicotine withdrawal. You might go through THC withdrawal. This process is a little harder because you have two substances that you're quitting instead of one substance at once, but it's definitely doable. And you just use the exact same principles that I talk about in so many other of my videos on this channel to accomplish that. But those people who are combining tobacco and weed, you got to quit both cold turkey at once. I think that would be your best option. I hope this helps. Let me know in the comments what it is you guys did and how you approached quitting these substances on your recovery journey. I'll see you in the comments below.